So when Peter is giving you an outline of what God did in Jesus in Acts, it is the outline, the basic bare bone structure of what we have in Mark. Mark says it begins right after the baptism of John. Peter says it begins right there. It makes sense that Mark would begin there. Mark in a nutshell. Well, okay. So written by Mark, not your model Christian disciple necessarily, but who God uses. What do we know about Peter? Oh, what do we know just from the Gospel of Mark about Peter? We know that he's one of the disciples of Jesus. He's one of the 12, but he's also one of the three closer disciples. John, James, and Peter, they were the closer disciples of Jesus. If we only had the Gospel of Mark, and we had to talk about the life of Peter, these are the kinds of things we would learn. Mark chapter 8. Mark chapter 8, Peter is rebuked by Jesus because Jesus is talking about how he is going to suffer. And Peter rebukes our Lord, and Jesus says to him, "Get behind me, Satan." That's what Jesus says about Peter. You're a lot like Satan right now, okay? Maybe not your model thing to say to a Christian disciple. You're like Satan. In chapter 9, during the right after the transfiguration, when Jesus is there with Moses and Elijah, Peter brazenly says, "It's good that we're here. It's good that we're here. Let's make tents for you and Moses and Elijah." Of course, Jesus is like, "What are you talking about?" Model Christian disciple. And then actually the text tells us this. I love this little detail. The next thing it says, the text tells us, Mark 9, "For he did not know what to say." He's just making up stuff. Let's make tents. and then Mark tells us, "For he was terrified." Model disciple. Mark chapter 10, the next chapter. When the rich young man comes to Jesus, Jesus actually tells this rich young man, "Give away all that you have and come and follow me." And Peter says, "See, we left everything to follow you." Again, that's like, who is this character? Of course, I could go on and on.